Thank you and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to thank the organizers of this conference to invite me here. Things that I'm going to speak about, they are definitely not pleasant. And I have to also say that these are my personal perspectives, so I don't represent here actually any official statement from any institution. My starting point is that we are living in a changed world with a new security situation for the Western societies, and in the background there is the conflicts in the Muslim world and the European migration crisis. When we are looking to the situation today, then we see the Arab Spring as kind of a starting point. We move from Tunisia to collapse of Libya to Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt and war in Syria. That is one of the main problems today. And we have the migration crisis in Europe. And all these issues, all these elements have brought forth the polarization in the Western societies. And we can see this polarization in different areas. We have seen the open borders versus bring the borders back polarization. We see the Islamic radicalism, but at the same time also the soldiers of Odin, for example, who claim that they are doing good things. We see the connection between refugees and terrorism today in Europe, and a general, I would say, a general radicalization in Western societies. What have become evident in the Brexit, for example, that we see these kind of polarizations with these kind of reactions, and maybe when we start with the Arab Spring, maybe we should end with the Western winter as a situation we are moving in. Speaking about the situation, about the radicalization in West, then there are these two different ways of radicalization. One is from person to person, but the more problematic is the online radicalization that is taking place. It's kind of an uncontrolled area where all kind of ideas are moving freely. And at the same time, we should also remind ourselves that there are violent and non-violent radicals, as it was previously said. One of the main problems when we are looking to the current situation in the West is that how to deal with the people who don't like Western liberalism and see it as a deviance from God's plan for the humanity and want to erase it from the earth and try to start a warfare or have started a warfare and this warfare is authorized by sacred texts. When looking to the situation in the West, then and Western society and the security, and talking about the radicalization, then we have different kind of enemies. The old political enemies, we can see the far right, far left, racists, separatists, and all kind of different movements. And in the Western countries, there is a lot of experience with dealing with these kind of old enemies. The problem is that now we have also new enemies. And these new enemies are often religious ideologies. And here we meet a new set of issues, because when we are speaking about religion in the Western societies, we are speaking about religious freedom and internal freedom, external freedom, what kind of limits there should be or should there be any. When we are looking to the radicalization in the religious context, especially with reference that taking place in Near East, there are these kind of religious utopias emerging. kind of an apocalyptic religions that, or religious movements that want to bring heaven on earth again. And at the same time, we meet new forms of religious hatred, religiously motivated violence, and so on, and also religiously motivated terrorism. The best example of it is probably ISIS, Daesh, ISIL, Caliphate, however you want to name it, but this is the most prominent example of it. How to tackle the violent radicalization? How to tackle the violent radicalization and promotion of it. I think we should have a smarter security. We should have more efficient and nuanced legal measures, and also more efficient preventive strategies. When looking to the smarter security, then there is a lot of talk about the cooperation between different agencies and different segments of society in tackling the radicalization. It's a lot of talk and a little action. But it becomes more and more needed that the real cooperation between the different institutions, between different non-governmental and governmental institutions takes place. The smarter security also needs human resources, that there is a lack of human resources in the day or in the days when we have more and more data available. That there is a lot of data, but there are a lack of people who can analyze it. When we are looking to the smarter security, we talk about monitoring people, surveillance, and so on. These are kind of hard issues, but we live in a changed world, in a way. And beside of monitoring and surveillance, there is also the need to be prepared for engagement, if this is needed. So these are the few words about the smarter security. In tackling the violent radicalization, more efficient and nuanced legal measures, I would say that they are needed. We should implement the legal acts that are already adopted. We should enforce the law. And a new challenge, I think, for the Western society, when we speak about the free speech, is the hate speech in a religious context. Should it be allowed? Should it be disallowed? Should it be banned? Because in religion, there is always a place for radical, for critique of society, critique of political system, and so on. So this is kind of an integral part, but at the same time, it is problematic. Also, when we are speaking about tackling violent radicalization and promotion of it, we should look to the preventive strategies. There should be more positive social and political engagement and also integration. But what does the integration mean, actually? We talk a lot about integration, but what do we mean when we speak about integration? And having the dialogue with different communities, we should also ask who are the dialogue partners we are talking with. When we are talking, for example, as state authorities or community officers or people who work in the communities. Who are these people? Who are the dialogue partners? Who do they represent? Because sometimes it seems, for me, that we are creating, for some reason, a new exotic. We try to have a dialogue with exotic people who fit to our kind of an image of minorities. I would say we are talking with extremes someday, in some cases. And what about the moderate majority? I would claim that often this moderate majority is left alone because we are not interested in them. They look too ordinary. they are not exotic enough to have a dialogue with. And the most important question when we speak about integration is how to integrate people who do not want to be integrated. Because we have to agree that in the societies there are people who do not want to become integrated, who want to live a separate life from the rest of the society. When I started to write this presentation or work on this presentation, I suddenly realized that maybe what I'm talking about is another way, or it is kind of a way. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. That there should be more wise security policies, that there should be more wise integration policies, and so on. But is it so? I guess we are going to see it in the future. We speak about immigration, but at the same time also we speak about integration. But again, if we want to integrate people to somewhere, then where we are going to integrate them? What kind of values do we represent? How to integrate people to liberal democratic values? Should we increase kind of adaptability, that people adapt to the societies where they are moving to? And again, the efficient security system, and of course, and this is very crucial and also very problematic, these control measures. That we give power to some persons, to some institutions, but how we are going to monitor that they are acting according to the rules. So these are the questions that how to integrate the people who come from different backgrounds, how to enforce the liberal democratic values among people who have different understanding or different traditions. So these are, I think that there isn't any simple answers or pleasant answers, but there are a lot of questions, a lot of challenges, and this is where I end. Thank you.